What if I told you that the Ravens might be about to lose one of their greatest defensive idols? And that at the same time, the future of the offense might depend on a conversation about money that hasn't happened yet. Today we're going to talk about two bombshells exploding behind the scenes in Baltimore, and that every fan needs to know now. Stick around until the end, because there's a twist in every segment of this news story. Marlon Humphrey, trade or stay? The Ravens general manager said he's staying. But did anyone tell the market about this? Marlon Humphrey's name is back on the table, and this time it wasn't the fans who put it there. It was Pro Football Focus, one of the biggest NFL analysis sites in the United States, that listed the defensive star as a possible trade candidate even after general manager Eric DeCosta made it clear that Humphrey is part of the plans for 2026. But why does this issue keep growing? Let's understand where this discussion comes from. Analyst John Costco from PFF brought up an interesting theory. The most valuable asset a team can offer in a trade is someone the other team already knows. And Marlon Humphrey fits perfectly into this logic. At the peak of his career, Humphrey was one of the most complete cornerbacks in the NFL. Physical, versatile, capable of covering the league's best receivers one-on-one, playing in the slot, making impactful plays. PFF even gave him scores above 80 points in his best seasons, which is very good for the position. And here comes the central point. These qualities don't disappear overnight. Any team that needs veteran leadership in the secondary knows what they're buying with Humphrey. The problem: the contract numbers. But this discussion isn't just about the field. It's also about salary, and this is where it gets complicated. In 2026, Humphrey represents a $26.2 million impact on the Ravens' salary cap. What if the team decided to cut him today? The termination costs would reach $22.9 million. That's a lot of money tied up. There's a way out called contract restructuring. Basically, the Ravens split the payment in another way, and this could free up more than $13 million in salary cap space immediately. But this maneuver has a future cost. The money doesn't disappear, it's just delayed. Then the question that Baltimore's management needs to answer is it worth keeping Humphrey for what he can still deliver on the field? Or is it better to turn him into draft assets and strengthen the roster of other teams? Forms? The daringest idea. What if he became a safety? There's a third option that Ravens Wire has already discussed, and that we here also want to put on the table. What if Humphrey changed positions? With his physique, game intelligence, and years of experience in the D League, the transition to safety isn't as absurd as it seems. It could extend his career, better utilize the skills he still has, and solve a financial problem without needing any trades. For now, DeCosta maintains the position. Humphrey stays. But in the NFL, these conversations don't disappear. They evolve. And while his name circulates in the market, the possibility exists. But look, whether or not the Ravens will mess with Humphrey, there's another name that also wants to know what the team will do with him. A receiver who played here, who wants to come back, who has a price in mind, and who made it clear, if Baltimore doesn't call, someone will. DeAndre Hopkins. He wants to come back, but for how much? He played alongside Lamar Jackson and enjoyed it. He was paid a minimum contract and didn't complain. But now, he knows his worth, and he'll tell you the price. DeAndre Hopkins got straight to the point in a recent interview with content creator Buta. I think we hit $5 million last year. I'm not upset about it. I'd like the same thing. $5 million. That's the number Hopkins put on the table to return to the Ravens. And he went further. I feel like I didn't get a chance to show my worth. I still think that in certain situations, I could have been in the red zone. Why does this statement matter so much? Let's put it in context. Last season, Hopkins played as a vertical threat, a receiver who opens up the field deep. He made more than half of his receptions in completely healthy conditions, averaging 15 yards per reception. This has a real impact on Lamar Jackson's strategy. But Hopkins is the first to acknowledge his limitations. He himself has publicly stated that he doesn't want to be the team's #1 receiver. That responsibility, in his view, already belongs to Zay Flowers, whom he praised without hesitation as Baltimore's main option. Hopkins sees himself in a different role. Someone who gets into the right situations, makes the difficult plays, and keeps the opposing defense honest. A smart veteran, not a worn-out protagonist. The historic QEU makes him be taken seriously. Hopkins is almost 34 years old, but he's not just any 34-year-old player. In 2020, he negotiated a 2-year, $54.5 million contract with the Arizona Cardinals on his own, without an agent. At the time, he was the highest-paid non-quarterback in NFL history. That says a lot about who this man is off the field. Someone who understands the market, who knows what he wants, and who won't accept less than he believes he's worth. And he wasn't subtle. But here's the warning every Ravens fan needs to hear carefully. Hopkins made it clear that as much as he wants to return to Baltimore, he'll go where he feels most wanted. He won't wait indefinitely. He won't call begging for a spot. If the Ravens don't make a decision, another team will. With a roster that's practically being entirely rebuilt, new coach, departure of almost all unrestricted free agents, the question remains, will the Ravens give up one of the few names that Lamar Jackson clearly likes to have around? So that's it, folks. 2 names, 2 stories, one same question at the center of it all. What will the Ravens do with the money they have? Marlon Humphrey, $26 million in salary cap space, with his future uncertain. DeAndre Hopkins, asking for $5 million and waiting for a call. The pieces are on the table. Now it's up to the front office. If you enjoyed this analysis, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and comment below. Would you keep Humphrey or trade him? And Hopkins, do you want him back? We read everything. Ravens Nation, until next time.